What do British people really eat for lunch? It's possibly not exactly what you think, exactly what we do. And in this episode of the English Right Now podcast, we're exploring typical British lunches, from the quick meal deals to classic favorites, and what they reveal about life in the UK. Welcome to the English Right Now podcast, an English learning podcast in which we teach you at least 10 pieces of real vocabulary. It's a real conversation. I'm British English teacher Roy, and joining me is my dear friend Rob. Hello.
Very good afternoon to you, Roy. Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing just fine, thanks. Well, okay, a little bit blocked up with a cold, but other than that, I'm all
bunged
right.
up.
I'm chipper.
So obviously we record these before they go out. So right now it's around it's about 12:35 as I'm looking at the clock. What time do you normally have lunch?
Well, I guess I aim for about 1 o'clock. That's when my tummy starts to rumble and I think I need to grab something.
Tummy starts to rumble. That's the sound that your stomach makes, isn't it? Rumble. It rumbles. So you have it about 1 o'clock. I'm usually between 12 and 1. What are you planning? What are you thinking about having today?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I say I aim for 1 o'clock, but if I have to do this with you, Roy, then I can't have my lunch at 1 o'clock because we're talking.
Ruined your lunch.
So I have to quickly cram something in before we record. And today I had some leftovers from last night.
Oh.
We had a big sort of bowl of pasta and stuff, and there was some left over. So we put it in the fridge, and I've just heated it up in the microwave and eaten it. So leftovers is what I had.
So leftovers, that's not on the list of vocabulary, but leftovers are things like you didn't finish off from the meal the day before or the afternoon, and then you usually reheat it, as you say. So you had some leftover pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Delightful.
Nice. No, it's nice.
I believe it. So do you think okay, normally the working week is Monday to Friday. So we're often, I mean, things have changed since we were young, Rob. Things have changed because these days we work more from home, but we still have these kind of hours normally of 9-5, 8-5, something like this. Do you think it's different the way you eat in the working week, Monday to Friday, compared to the weekend?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So in the week, it's usually something quick. At the weekend, there can be a bit more leisurely, a bit more time. Got the family to feed as well. So we wouldn't cook a whole meal, but we might cook something quick at the weekends, where in the weekday, it's a question of saving time. So it's something quick. The other thing is, Roy, that it depends where I am, whether I'm in London, in the centre of London, in an office, or whether I'm at home. So obviously, when you're in an office, it's harder to cook something or prepare something. So you have to take something to the office, or you go out and buy something. And when I'm at home, then I might have something I can get out of the fridge, or just a bit of toast. So that's a quick snack, something on toast.
Oh, nice. So this is something a lot of students ask me, because they ask about, like, obviously for breakfast, the stereotype. We've talked about breakfast before. The stereotype is that we have these massive full English breakfasts. Ironically, I had a full English breakfast today, so I've not had lunch. I have skipped lunch. That's skip is a verb we use to mean, not have that meal, to skip lunch or skip dinner. And I've skipped lunch today because the breakfast was really filling. But lunch, quite often we grab something. We say, I'm going to grab something for lunch. And this is quick and informal. It means eat something very quickly, and it's not a proper meal. So I might just grab a sandwich or grab something from the shop that's not really a sit-down meal. What do you often grab when you're, if you go out, leave the office and you go out, what do you grab? What do you go out?
It'd be some form of a sandwich, usually. And I know something you're very keen on is a meal deal. Let's get that in there. A meal deal.
Tesco need to sponsor us, man.
Yeah. So you go to the local supermarket. Actually, it's not just supermarkets now. I know Boots, the chemist, also sell food, and they do a meal deal, which is where you get 3 items, don't you, and a drink. You usually get or 2 items, some kind of sandwich or ready-made pasta bowl, and then you get a side, which could be a cake, a chocolate bar, a packet of crisps, and then you get a drink as well. And by
Yeah.
buying it together, you save money. You have a meal deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Was it Boots that invented the idea of the meal deal? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I remember Boots has been. I'm sure. I'm going to look at the history of the meal deal. I mean, considering how much I love this, history, meal deal history. So yeah, I mean, I love a meal deal, as you well know. It's like a fixed price. Yeah, Boots pioneered the idea for £2.50. So with that, it's interesting now because you said, and even Boots do it these days, but actually they started it
Oh, okay.
apparently,
Yeah,
according to the internet. So it must be true. The internet
That's
says.
interesting because Boots is a chain of chemists, and
Yeah,
you wouldn't expect a chemist
you,
to be selling food, but obviously they've
you-
branched out, they've expanded their repertoire of things they
apparently
sell.
it's been around since 1999, according to the internet.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I agree with you. I would associate it with a supermarket like Tesco or Sainsbury's. And they all have their own different sort of versions. Some place you can get an upgraded premium meal deal for more of a price. Some places you can get hot meal deals. But usually it's like some sort of sandwich or a wrap, snack like crisps or chocolate, and then a drink. And
Mm.
I know people that kind of try to get the most value, even if they don't really enjoy the food they're eating. They try to get the most expensive. It's ridiculous, but
That's
it's a
right.
fixed price, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you can buy the most expensive items, the most expensive sandwich, yeah, but it's still the same price altogether, isn't it? Which is good.
But
And it ranges, doesn't it? I mean, they've gradually gone up in price, but on average it's
yeah,
£45 these days for a meal
where
deal.
do you live? It's only £3 something down here with a club card. God,
Yeah,
blimey.
£3.95 at Tesco now, I think
Yeah,
it is now. It's gone up,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It is. It keeps creeping up, but it still feels like good value, especially when you need to eat on the go. So on the go is an expression that we're using. It's eating while walking, or maybe it's like this idea of eating while you're traveling. You're not stopping to eat.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for that. Sandwich is an interesting word as well. I find sandwich, the pronunciation in British English is sandwich. American is sandwich with a ch sound at the end. But you hear a lot of varieties like sandwich, like with a m sound instead of an n. Sandwich.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sandwich?
Wasn't it invented by Lord Sandwich or something?
Well,
Didn't
the
he come up
Earl of
with the
Sandwich,
idea?
wasn't it?
Earl of Sandwich,
Uh,
yeah. There is a
yes.
village down in Kent called Sandwich, or a town called Sandwich, and there's also just outside Sandwich, there's a little village called Ham, and there's a great road sign that goes Sandwich Ham or Ham Sandwich.
I love it. I think we should film in front of that. We need a photo. We could sell it for our calendar next year.
Mm.
Robin Roy's calendar. Different photos of us in different positions. I don't think anybody would buy it. Let us know if you'd buy it. We'll make
Especially
it.
a naked one.
Oh no, it's not that kind of calendar, Rob.
No,
Oh
no.
dear goodness me. No, we don't want to put them everybody off. But
Yeah,
I think it was
the
invented
meal
because it
deal
was
is
very
it's a good
hard.
offer. It's food on the go. It's takeaway food, so it's obviously you
Yeah,
don't go and sit down and have it. You have to take it somewhere to eat it. Back to the office, eat it on the go, and that kind of stuff. I mean, I do sometimes if I'm lucky enough to have some time or any friends, then I might go out for lunch and actually go to a cafe
nice.
and sit down and have something cooked and served to you. Nothing
Yeah,
fancy. We're not talking about a three-course dinner with tablecloths and everything. This is like
yeah.
a what we might call a greasy spoon, a sort of fry up place where they fry everything.
Your wife is a lucky woman, isn't she? My idea of a romantic dinner. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's nothing fancy. That's an interesting word because fancy can mean quite elaborate, quite upmarket sort of dining experience. But we also use the word fancy to mean want informally. Like, do you fancy a sandwich? Something like this. I think that's quite nice. Quite often, I have what I would call a light bite. And a light bite is a small meal, often in cafes, pubs, and it's just a small meal, not too heavy. You quite often get sort of the menus where you have the regular meal and you have the light bite version. So for sausage and mash, it might be fewer sausages, less mash, something like this.
Or soup. Or sometimes they do
Yeah,
soup and a sandwich or something like that.
yeah. So your typical Monday to Friday meal, and I'd agree the same. Meal deal, something light, nothing too heavy. I think it's hard to work after a heavy lunch.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely. You feel quite sleepy when you've eaten a lot of food. I mean,
Yeah.
there are other reasons as well. Of course, you can't really afford to go out and have a full meal every lunchtime. Also, probably not great for your health if you eat a huge
No.
meal and then you go back and sit behind your desk. So that's not good. Although
Oh,
they do sometimes say it's better to have all your food at lunchtime and not in the evening, before you
okay.
relax, go to bed. But no.
Okay. Maybe I've been living my whole life wrong. So, I mean, I quite commonly like if we do go to a cafe or something like that, we often use the expression I'll just have. Like I'll just have a
Mm.
sandwich or I'll just have something small. And it softens the choice. It sounds less demanding and more polite to a waiter, I'll just have the something like the salad.
Yeah.
Something like this. But yeah, we don't tend to eat. I mean, you have all these famous British lunches, like a ploughman's. When was the last time you had a ploughman's?
When I used to work as a ploughman. No, it's an old farmer's kind of lunch, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Traditionally.
lovely though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you get your pickled onions and
Yep.
nice big chunk of cheese, crusty bread, bit of salad. Um, you know,
Yeah.
it's a good relatively healthy but quite a filling lunch. Yeah.
But I think most British people, I think so it's like you've got your pork pies and your stuff like this. But most British people, in my experience, especially Monday to Friday while they're working, they don't have particularly heavy lunches, partially because of time and I think cost as well. And,
Mm.
because if you're dining out in London every day for lunch, you get how long do you normally get for a lunch break, really? It's like an
Well,
hour?
you're supposed yeah, hour maximum. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But,
I mean, it's
by
good.
the time
I was going to say it's good to have a lunch hour because I think you do need
Mm,
to have a break from work, from your
yeah,
office, to get outside and to socialize as well if possible, or to go and run your errands and do little jobs you need to do at lunchtime. So it's good to have a break in the working day, definitely. But
yeah.
most importantly, to eat. I don't know. Some people amazingly can go throughout the day without any food, but certainly by lunchtime, I need to eat something.
But, yeah, I think definitely you have to eat something. But I would say one thing as well. If you've got an hour, you leave your desk at 12 o'clock. It's going to take you 10 minutes to get to a restaurant, 10, 15 minutes. Order your food, that's like 20 past already, at minimum 25 past. Then you've got to wait for your food, which could be about 15 minutes. That's 22. So you've got 10 minutes to shove it down, like shovel it down.
Mm,
And
yeah.
then it doesn't work. You really got to, somebody, it doesn't work. And I think it's a limitation. So some
Yeah, it's
people
not
take
enjoyable.
packed lunches. No,
No,
some
no.
people take packed lunches, don't they?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've tried that before, partly to save money, to eat more healthily, but I never
Yeah.
get around to it in the morning. Never find the time or the inclination to start making something to take to work. But a packed lunch is a good idea. I do see people sitting there, often at their desk. Don't That's any problem. They eat it at their desk. Little packed lunch with some little sandwiches and some
Yeah.
homemade cakes or something. Probably I say more healthy, but it involves a little bit of planning.
Yeah. I think it's I think I really admire people that do that make the pack. Like, it's very similar to meal deals, in my opinion, because it's usually a
Mm,
sandwich, a yogurt, and a snack or something. And I think that's why the meal deal is so popular. So yeah, Monday to Friday, something light. I often don't feel
mm,
overly hungry. I feel quite often peckish, which means very slightly hungry.
yeah.
I don't feel like I want to tuck in. Tuck in is another
No.
informal expression, which means sort of like start eating, tuck in, go on, tuck in, dig in. These
Mm.
sort of phrases.
Yeah, so you want to
I don't
kind
want
of
to.
a quick bite, something
Yeah,
that's quick to eat. Yeah.
fast, quick, done, functional. I often say, I admire cultures where lunch or dinner is a real event. It's a family thing. In England, I
Mm.
often find it's quite functional, especially during the working week. It's just like get some food, get some fuel. It's like filling up your car, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah. I
Ah,
mean,
done. I can keep going.
yeah. Job done. Job done. You've had something to eat. And the other thing I do, of course, not just lunch, but I tend to graze on food
Yeah,
all day.
it's a
Grazing,
good
a bit
verb. Yeah,
like cows or sheep do in the field. They graze on the grass. I might, have a chocolate bar, some biscuits, an apple throughout the day, just to keep me going, I
yeah.
suppose.
So never invite you to an all-you-can-eat buffet because
Oh,
you'll be there like hovering like a vulture.
bit more, grazing all day, all lunch. Yeah, yeah.
It's not fair because there's nothing on you, is there? There's no. You're a very trim, slim
Lean.
gentleman. It's not fair. Some people have got better metabolism. I look at a buffet and I gain, a
Mm.
stone in weight. But sometimes here's a good expression. I can't be bothered. It means I've got no energy, no motivation. So sometimes I can't be bothered to cook, or I can't be bothered to go to a big restaurant, or just grab something small.
Mm.
Um, and
Yeah,
people say, oh, sometimes people, what are you doing for lunch? I don't know, but I'll sort something out for lunch, which means I'll figure it out. Um, that's a
yeah,
common thing. So we talked about the
yeah.
walking week. I was going to say the walking week. Sounds
Well,
like The
that keeps you
Walking Dead,
fit.
doesn't it? Um, and sometimes you can have a working lunch where you continue to work through your lunch. You'll work at your office, food at your desk. A lot of companies don't like to see that. I think because
Mm.
they want you to take a break.
Yeah,
Some companies may not.
no, but I agree that you need to walk away from your desk. Don't work at your desk all day and eat your lunch at your desk. It's dirty as well, of course. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's not great. You need a change of scenery. But you just mentioned a working lunch. Yeah, so you could work through your lunch. But another kind of meaning of working lunch is you could go and have lunch with a colleague if you're trying to get a promotion or something,
or a
or you're trying to
client.
do a
Yeah,
clients, you're doing a business deal, then you have
yeah,
lunch with somebody, not particularly the person you want to choose to have lunch with, but you've got to do it because it's a business transaction. So
yeah.
therefore you have a lunch where
I
you're talking about work.
I often hear people say, "Oh, let's do lunch," which is really,
Mm,
it sounds a bit Americanized to me. "Oh, let's do lunch. We're going to do lunch." It
yeah.
sounds a bit Americanized that's crept into uh, British English. But another
Mm.
thing that I think, I don't know why, I associate it with New York, but brunch. How often do you
Yes.
eat brunch?
Well, brunch we might have at home. Certainly don't have it during the working week, but at the
No.
weekends, say a Saturday morning, everybody gets out of bed a bit late, and then we've got things to do. So you've missed breakfast, but we
Yeah.
don't want to then sit down and have lunch in an hour's time. So therefore, you have something late morning between
Yeah.
breakfast and lunch, hence the word brunch. And then we might cook something, a bacon sandwich, bacon and eggs, something
Yeah.
like that. Fills you up,
Brunch.
until dinner time.
It's a portmanteau, isn't it, of breakfast and lunch into one word, brunch. I
Mm.
think I would class my full English breakfast this morning as more of a brunch because I had it at like, by the time it got to the table, it was 11 o'clock, which is,
Mm.
it's too late for breakfast, too early for lunch, but it's
Yeah.
filled me up for the entire day. I probably won't need to eat. But we've talked a lot about the working week. We need to talk about the weekend.
Mm.
But
Mm.
quite often we say something like, I made do. I made do with a sandwich. I made do with a sandwich. I didn't really want it. Wasn't the most thing. But it was enough to tide me over. Oh, what
Oh,
did you
yeah.
do for lunch today? I just made do with a sandwich. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, not
But
ideal.
sometimes either I'm busy or I'm just lazy. But if there's nobody else to cook for, I don't particularly want to cook lunch, so I'll have something
No,
quick. I'll see what I can find. Probably toast is an easy option. Just put some bread
yeah,
in the toaster. Maybe put
beans on
some
toast,
beans on toast or a quick fried
cheese
egg
on
on
toast.
toast or something like yeah. Or even worse, might just have a packet of crisps and a chocolate bar, or
Yeah,
something you can grab out of the cupboard that doesn't involve any preparation, and you can just eat. A bit like having lunch on the go, but you're just eating on the go. You're not wasting time. Because conversely, the opposite. What about Sunday lunch? Is that a
yeah.
nice
There you
light
go. So
Sunday lunch?
weekends are a bit different. We have a bit more time. So quite commonly, Sunday lunch, we have that Sunday roast if you go to a pub, don't you? And it's a real event. And that's when I think British dining experience has become more of an event. It's like quite common at home and with family and a Sunday lunch. I mean, we should do a whole podcast about the Sunday roast
Mm,
because I think it's just incredible. But it's like roasted meat that's been in the oven, Yorkshire puddings, which are kind of a savory batter thing for gravy, which goes over it, veg, roast potatoes, parsnips, these kind of things. It's delicious. So you might have a ploughman's at the weekend. You might have a bigger lunch at the weekend. How often do you have Sunday roast?
I'd say probably once a month, actually.
Mm,
As a child, I always remember having it every Sunday religiously,
yeah,
as in every Sunday. I
it's
remember
a
my
weird
mum.
word. Interesting word you use, religiously, yeah, because you aren't talking literally religiously, although Sunday is a religious day, or for some people. But you
Yeah.
mean like almost by routine and ritual. Yeah.
Yes,
Go on,
exactly.
sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Well, I remember I say my mum Sunday mornings, she was in the kitchen preparing this Sunday lunch all morning, and then we'd sit down and eat it about 1 o'clock. And then there was all the clearing up to do afterwards, of course. But everyone would then kind of fall asleep because, as we said, if you have a big full lunch, you feel a bit like Christmas dinner. You eat so much, you feel quite tired afterwards and have a sleep.
Yeah.
But it was a big thing, Sunday lunch for me now. Probably once a month, a roast chicken or something like that. Yeah.
I used to like school lunches.
Mm.
That was when I went to school, because you get your lunches, don't you? At school, that was always quite cool, because that they tend to be quite balanced. Although there's some horrible things. I say they're horrible, like mushroom risottos, and yeah, I hate mushrooms. Hate mushrooms.
Okay. Oh well, if you don't like mushrooms,
and rice pudding as well.
Oh well, anything with custard. I used to love sponge and custard, chocolate sponge and custard.
I don't know why they ruined the sponge with the custard. I really don't. I thought
Friday
custard is.
I was going to say Friday we had fish and chips, of course.
That's
traditional
nice.
thing.
Fish Friday.
Fish Friday, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. But yeah, lunch is technically something, I would say the vast majority of British people, they will have something very light in the working week and something heavier because they've got more time at the weekend. And that's when you could have fish and chips for Sunday, maybe, these kind of things. And Sunday roast is quite traditional, but it's not every week. Quite commonly, it's just something not too dissimilar from dinner quite often.
Yeah.
On a weekend, at the weekend.
Weekends, yes. Yeah. But much lighter in the week. Yeah. But it's funny. I mean, I think lunch traditions have changed over the years. When you look back at those old black and white photographs, of the 50s and 60s, people were sitting down in the workplace having a formal lunch. Some organizations had a proper dining room. In fact, one place I know used to have waitress service, so you go and sit down and a waiter would come and take your order.
Quite often at work, you get a canteen, don't you? Like a kind of which is very similar to school dinners, I think. Something very familiar.
Yeah, canteen where you share tables, don't you, as well? And you queue up at the counter with your tray, and you'll pick a bit of that and a bit of that, and then you go and pay, and then go and sit down. So yeah, it is like school dinners. You're right. It's there. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. No, it's interesting because we obviously both worked at the BBC, and there was a canteen there, and quite commonly you'd go downstairs and because it was easier to go to the canteen. You had more time to go and enjoy your lunch, and it was quite, it was really nice, and it was like a food hall, wasn't it? Sort of area where you could go and dine and enjoy it, and it's it's something a bit more structured, I guess.
Yeah.
And quite commonly, you maybe get discounts if you work in the place and things like this. But yeah. So on that note, I want to say thank you very much, Rob, for talking to me today. I hope I didn't disturb your lunch too much. But obviously, if you want to support this podcast, there is you could always buy a cup of tea for one of us or both of us. There's a link down below. But from me today, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for listening to us today. Please let us know your questions so we can answer them more in future podcasts. But from me today, I just want to say thank you very much, Rob. Run out of breath. Thank you very much, Rob. I'll see you in the next podcast.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.